Hi team, you're listening to the Teamcpnz Quick Connect podcast, the space to stay informed, keep connected and learn from each other along the way. I'm your team captain, Richard Greer, and in today's podcast, we have the pleasure of catching up with Teamcpnz athlete Helen Gillespe. Helen's an athlete who loves a challenge, thrives on the adventure, and makes sure that she has plenty of fun doing it. Earlier this year, we shared her story in our Kathmandu Coast to Coast podcast, Season 7, Episode 6, published on the 8th of February 2026. And it's all about her longest day build-up. Today, we reflect on her build-up to that event, how the event unfolded, and what she's been up to over the past 7 months, as well as her plans to tackle the 2027 Kathmandu Coast to Coast longest day. Helen is an amazing human and one that everyone could learn something from, which is why we felt the need to share her story with our community. As you listen to this today, you will get an understanding about where Helen has come from, but make sure you hang out until minute number 25 when Helen opens up about what really happened over the coast to coast and what's that meant for her sort of plans for next year as well. There's plenty to learn, plenty to share, and thank you so much for Helen for being so open and honest and sharing with our team. So sit back, grab yourself a coffee, make some notes, and we'll look forward to sharing Helen's story. Welcome, Helen. Helen Gillespe, how are you getting on today?
Hi, Richard. Yeah, good, thanks.
That's awesome. Hey, thank you so much for joining us. This is your second time on our podcast today. We had our debut prior to Coast, and that was very well received, and I've had lots of feedback, and I think you've had a few people mention to you that they saw you on that podcast as well, that we did so specifically for the Coast to Coast and the lead up to it. So I guess today's podcast is a little bit about what's happened since, really. How are you? Where are you at after that in terms of your journey? There was a pretty amazing story you told to us. So I guess before we get underway with all of that, how are you getting on today?
Yeah, I'm great. The sun's shining.
Yes, the sun is shining. It's shining over this side of the hill. Obviously, you're stationed on the West Coast. Where are we on the West Coast?
We're in Hokitika. So
Perfect.
it is a stunning blue sky day.
Good.
Yeah, I've had a walk on the beach, I've had a bike ride, and I've done a bit of gardening, and now this is relaxing.
Okay, good. Hopefully you've had a bunch of food, because that sounds pretty active for this morning.
Yeah, we might have made some muffins this morning, so yeah, it's been a diet of muffins today.
Well done. That's super good. Nice one. So Coast to Coast, we've actually done a bit of stuff over the years, haven't we? Also helped your daughter with the Coast to Coast. Maybe let's start back there. Like, when did we sort of first get to meet each other, and what have we done in the past?
I think the first time I worked with you, Richard, I had actually won a year's free coaching when I did something along the lines of the Oxford Odyssey, but it was only the 15K event. My sister had roped me into it because I'd made her do something else.
Yes, Nairi.
And so that was my prize for winning that event, was a year's worth of coaching with you. And so I started off thinking I was going to do the Valley Ultra, and we were training towards that. And then that event went out of business. Yeah. And so I kind of, as the current buzzword is, I pivoted and went, that sucks. I'll find another race. So I went from, what was that race? I think 58 kilometres to, I went, oh, well, it can't be that much harder to do 85. I'll just do Old Ghost instead.
What is the maths on that? That's like another 30 Ks.
And I think twice as much climbing. But yeah, that's where we kicked off initially, which was great fun. And then, last year's longest day.
Yeah, good stuff.
Roped you and Kim for strength and conditioning, roped her in as well, which is fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. So we're not talking about booby prizes of whether that was a good idea or not. We're just going to roll along with that initial introduction. So that was pretty awesome. How did you go on that first event? How did you go on your 80 something Ks?
Old Ghost. That was really good. I think I was 5th female in my age group, 15th overall. Had an interesting day in terms of gastro stuff, so I'd never experienced any of that jazz.
Yeah.
And also had a calf muscle that just decided it didn't want to go uphill. So I had a really good first half. And of course, that race doesn't really start until the second half.
No, that's right.
When you go up that hill. So I didn't run up the hill. I power walked up the hill and then ran the rest of the way. So it was fine on any other surface but uphill.
Yes, good on you.
But yeah, it was a race that in the days after, I said, if I ever talk about doing something like that, you can just shoot me because that's dumb. And then within about 3 weeks, I was saying to myself, God, if I just run 15 more Ks, that would have been 100. That would have been so cool. So yeah, our memories are really short, aren't they?
Yeah, that's classic. That's awesome. That's a very impressive 15th overall or so. That's super impressive. You've got a background as a runner. You've been running.
Yeah.
Oh,
I guess, claim to fame if there was one. I used to run for New Zealand in mountain running when it was kind of new to New Zealand. But had, kind of done the whole track, field, cross country, road. Did a little bit of longer road stuff. So I'd held a few records in terms of half marathon. Never did a road marathon. I just couldn't see the point. I think I trained enough on the roads that it didn't seem like fun, but I see they're back in fashion now, Richard.
Yeah.
And it had occurred to me that I could put that on my list of what shall I do next.
Yeah, that's dangerous. I'm not going to make any suggestions here at all. I should even stop speaking, otherwise we'll talk ourselves into it.
Yeah. So, and then when I moved to the West Coast, mountain running, like it seems like an oxymoron because there are a few hills here, but the pure mountain running competitive stuff is actually quite short. It's for women, it's 6 kilometers, and it's either straight uphill or it's undulating, which includes the same amount of elevation as the uphill would have. So it's pretty specific, and usually an uphill course is on a ski field access road, so it's not off-road running at all, even though mountain running sound romantically trail. It's actually not. And on an undulating course, there's not allowed to be more than 5% of bare terrain. So it's kind of like grassy or gravel. So it's not trail running like we have oceans of here on the coast and in other parts of the country. So that's, you kind of, depending on the location you live in, you kind of pick up the sports that are easily accessible where you are. So
yes, that's right. And Hokitika, coast to coast, is a big one. There's lots of people over the years that have done it. Not like just about everybody on the coast has either done it or probably got a family member that have done it effectively. So
exactly.
We had longer stay on the cards, and that was because you had unfinished business, and Kim and I worked together with you on that.
And like that was it wasn't necessarily unfinished business. I'd attempted the longest day in 1929, and I think we laughed about how old that suddenly makes you feel because that's quite a long time ago.
Well, it doesn't seem like a long time ago until you actually start doing some maths, does it?
And I had picked up some sort of waterborne nasty going through Goat Pass on the day. So by the time I got to the boat, I'd been vomiting for quite a while. Did that middle bike ride, a bit delirious, and that road was open, so I was on both sides of the road. And I just made the call at Mount White that I was going to be a liability and expecting other people to save me. So sacrifice their day to save me or help me wasn't fair. So and then you as a female went away from that childbearing years. Life gets busy and it's not your focus anymore. But last year I kind of got to a point where work was manageable, family were much less dependent, in fact very independent, doing their own coast to coasting. So I decided it would be quite cool to at least do some of the training with my daughter and her cohort of high school kids. to keep me honest.
Yeah.
So there was a really solid bunch of probably nearly a dozen people from Hokitika doing the event last year. So it was great to just have buddies to train with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so much fun, and so much fun to do it with your daughter as well. How good is that?
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, a bit of a privilege, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And how did your training go? How were you tracking? Like, yeah, what's your take on it? I've got my side of things we'll say in a second, but how did you feel that things went?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I at that point I was in an employment role which was pretty full on. And I really enjoyed having a program that said, Helen, do this today at this intensity and include this, this, and this. And it's like, sweet, okay. Somebody's telling me what to do, I'll go off and do it. And I can recall multiple times saying to both yourself and Kim, are you sure we're doing enough? Like, this doesn't, it seems so easy and it's not taking up loads of my time. We must be doing something wrong. And you both kept saying, trust the process, Helen, trust the process.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I really loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I reckon I was probably in the best form of my life going into that race. And that's saying a lot because I'd run for New Zealand, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And
I was no slug.
Yeah, that consistency you were able to create because like you had a big job and you were traveling quite a bit up and down the coast too, to be able to you did some runs along the beach on the way home in the dark almost, didn't you? You were sort of fitting things in here and there. So to be able to feel like I wanted to do more meant that you could do a really good job of those key sessions, and you were really dialed into some of those interval sessions, especially in the boat that you did too.
Yeah, and getting technique training early on in the boat. Like, obviously I'd been paddling for years and years, but not necessarily with good technique. And I guess a lot of us fall into that camp, Richard, that we go, it looks easy enough, like left hand, right hand. Somebody said something about my hips, but no, got that. But when you sit down with somebody who's actually like really skilled and experienced in kayak coaching, it's as technical as you want to make it. But when you're a small person, like, you can't rely on grunt like a lot of larger people do, taller particularly. You know, when you've got long limbs, it seems like there's much less effort involved. I'm sure it's exactly the same, but yeah, when you're smaller, you can't rely on that grunt. So it's got to be technique, because otherwise 4 or 5 hours in a boat is a really long time.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So I like putting all of that stuff together and spending a lot of time in the gym. I absolutely loved it.
More than you've ever done before? What was the gym stuff?
I did a lot of gym work ahead of going to World Mountain Running Champs, but that had been sort of the last time I'd done a lot of gym work. And I think partly that's accessing the kind of coaching that is specific to the sport you're doing. So not like lots of people, you know, can train people in a gym, but they don't necessarily understand the sport that you're doing, that you want that strength for. So that time in the gym, amazing, and spent a lot of time on the bike before I actually started doing any real running. And that was amazing too, because I really hadn't committed. I think throughout my career, I'd gravitated back to, I'll just do more running. Because running was the easy thing for me.
And you're good at running and you enjoy running. So why wouldn't you do more running?
Yeah, but it didn't necessarily, you know, improve the others very well. So being and I think you might have said to me at one point early on, hey, let's think about some events that you want to do. And I had suggested some events and they were all running events. And you said, no, we won't be doing those. And I was kind of like, okay. But it actually forced me to think more courageously about things like the paddling. And, you know, I guess that was not necessarily my least favoured sport, but the one that scares me the most.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, being more bold about like, actually, I'm going to do a kayaking event instead of a rugby because
Yes, and you did a good.
Put me in an uncomfortable place, but yeah, really good.
Yeah, you did a good job of those too. You did a bunch of the sort of lower Waimak races. Come over to Canterbury, didn't you? And paddle those middle of winter last year.
Yeah, and I've managed to fit one and heading to another one this weekend. But yeah, and that was it's such a mind game. I'm sure lots of people find running a mind game, but for me, paddling is a mind game. And you're just being in the water for a start. You know, there've been 27 years since the last time I've been on the Waimak.
Yeah.
It's a long time between drinks. And then doing the Waimak Classic was a big deal. Like for me, it was like, okay, here's what race day is going to look like under race conditions. But Kate and the Top Sport crew, like so much river safety in that event. Like, and I just keep promoting it to people because it is such a cool race to do.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong. Feeling like I'm just going to give it a go.
Yes,
kind of throw everything at it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So yeah, that challenge, putting yourself out of your comfort zone, building up, getting stronger, preparing for race day. And as you said, you're in the shape of your life, is fit, and the key piece being is strong. And I think that's the one thing around we sort of angle towards cycling a little bit more because it is a bit more of a strength-based sport, which then once we started picking up some running really flowed through to that, and you were going super well, weren't you?
Yeah. And I I had some fun adventures, like keeping it fun rather than it feeling like training. So I think maybe it was about November-ish. I'd come off, maybe doing kind of the most I would have done in terms of a run might have been an hour and a half. I was doing about 2 hours a week, I think, of running. And I had arranged to go and run the Heafy over a weekend and had friends coming from the other end. And so that was a really, really long couple of days of running.
So Heafy, is it 80 Ks? It's a
80
long way.
Ks. So it was a marathon each day. And the second day was just foul weather, like a really lot of rain. But it was really, really good for my mental game because I kind of came out of that and I learned something from a training perspective because I ended up in hospital with a what do you call it? I can't even think now, but I'd used Nurofen without enough water and food and giving myself a bit of a nasty upset stomach. So I came out of that weekend just kind of going, okay, well, nothing's going to be as bad as that because that was awful. So a gastric bleed isn't a good thing, and don't use Nurofen in the middle of a big event because you won't be taking on enough food, Richard. Just
that's a good learning.
But it was really good for my headspace. It was like, okay, that was a dumb decision. I got through it. You just keep going, one foot in front of the other. Kind of press pause. Bad stuff just happened. I need to rethink how am I going to get to the finish line. That sort of stuff. So it was really good race practice. And really good in terms of like we won't be letting that happen again.
Yes.
So I really enjoyed that, and then went from that into the Waimak Classic, which was brilliant. I think I was third. Because I can't even think. I think I finished third. So behind two epic women paddlers who actually broke the 4-hour mark, so they were a little faster than me. But and I had a fabulous day. So that was a bit more race practice, and I'd the whole hydration system thing. I got to a point in the boat where it's like only one of my hoses through my vest was working properly. And so that was the Red Bull that was working, and I think the water and the electrolytes weren't working. So I was as high as a kite, having a great time. Like, I got through it really well, and then I ran out of Red Bull with about 20 minutes to go, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm feeling a wee bit flat now.
Yeah.
So but again, it was practice for race day. It was a really good opportunity.
Of things that don't go exactly to plan, and for I mean, doing things that are slightly crazy is important as well. Like, as you say, mentally that prepares you for what you're up against and brings you confidence to say, well, it can't be as bad as that. It's always good to have one of those bottom line sort of thing. At least I'm not going to get back to that. Yeah. So
and
you
then
did
even like the prep leading into race days. So, the writing the race plan, writing the notes for the crew and myself. All of that work was about having as much control of how your day pans out as you possibly can, and identifying the what ifs that could happen, and then having a strategy for, okay, well, yeah, we knew that could happen. Here's how we deal with it. So not leaving anything to chance. I think the thing in all of that I didn't do was, in all of that race planning, I didn't plan on not starting the race, and that's what ended up happening.
I mean,
so
none
that
of
was
us
really
planned for that.
unfortunate. No,
no.
We can laugh in hindsight and go, oh, okay. But I ended up in ED on the night of the race, so the Friday night.
So you weren't well in the week before, really, were you? You were
like,
I think I might be okay. There's a bit of a gastro thing going on here.
Yeah, and it was just that. It was like, there's a bit of something that's weirdly gastro. And I sought medical advice, and had been given a bit of treatment for what might have been Giardia or some other waterborne. And I guess the doctors are only as good as the information you give them. So mine was probably all clouded with, I've been out training heaps, I've been drinking out of rivers, I've been and they're all looking at that going, oh, well, yeah, that's probably a waterborne thing. Maybe you didn't wash your hands as often as you needed to. You don't seem really unwell. So I was just a little upset tummy every couple of days. It wasn't regular. It wasn't uncomfortable at that point. I was still training really well. Did my last training session on the Wednesday before the race. Felt great. And then, on the Thursday coming up to registration, I started to feel just a tad icky. I thought, oh, this is weird, just a bit tired. And I guess, I kind of went, might be race nerves kicking in a wee bit. I had a million reasons what it could be.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I kind of said to some of my support crew who were travelling quite a long way, I said, just hold off till Friday lunchtime before you guys leave, and I'll confirm, that I'm racing. So I already had this kind of pre-planning going on.
Yeah.
And woke up Friday morning, farewelled my daughter who was off to do her 2-day, 2-person women's event. And I was feeling like $1 million. I thought, oh my God, this is going to be so good. I said to her, I'll see you on the beach tomorrow night.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
good. That's awesome.
So really looking forward to it. And then by Friday lunchtime, I was curled up in my bed with the worst stomach cramps I've ever had. And just kind of going, okay, somebody who's racing the longest day tomorrow doesn't look like this. So I pulled the pin at midday Friday. And then, spent Friday night in hospital. They reluctantly allowed me to leave on Saturday morning so I could head to Christchurch to watch my kids finish. And of course I missed them finish, but got to hang out for the weekend with them.
See them there. Yeah.
Yeah, feeling a bit average. And then back in hospital on the following Wednesday when I sort of went downhill again. And 3 weeks later, came out of hospital. So really unfortunate timing.
Yeah.
And I guess that's one of the other things I learned was that when you're at that like race peak fitness, there's a really fine line between being really well and race fit and then suddenly incredibly unwell, and your body is running a gauntlet, I suppose, between strength, get through that day, and then like low immunity, just can't function very well at all. So it was a bit of an eye opener, Richard.
Yeah, no, that's right. So we've sort of, I guess, in this podcast so far, our chat's been about like the before Coast to Coast race day, and then a little bit of what happened on race day, and the fact that we didn't write down in your pre-race plan that you might not actually make it, because we plan for what could possibly go wrong and think about all the possible things, but didn't come up with this one. But what was actually going on? What happened there? And I guess also, that we haven't talked too much about that so far either, which we touched on in the last podcast. So tell us more about that.
So I guess in the last podcast, we talked about the fact that 7 years ago I had breast cancer, and that was a big deal at the time. And I went through surgery and chemo and radiation, and then had spent more than 5 years on a drug which helps to make sure the cancer stays away.
Yeah.
And then something had gone a little bit odd at the start of the year that you and I had been training for, and so I was getting that checked out, and that may have been a cancer caused by the anti-cancer drugs that I was on, which is a bit ironic, but that can happen. So they were looking into that, and I guess in that podcast that we did last time, that's what they were going to be looking into after I finished the race.
Yeah.
However, this was not that. So what had happened was the cancer that I had 7 years ago had in fact spread, and its sneaky little cancer cells had all joined hands and were having a merry party in my small intestine and had blocked it. So that what appeared to be a random intermittent gastro thing was the cancer cells getting to a point where they had closed off my small intestine, so I couldn't process food. And it took them a while to figure that out, because this type of cancer is a bit tricky, and it doesn't show up like a lump. It grows like a spider web in little fine chains, and so you can't see it on like MRI or CT or diagnostic equipment. It's only once it affects the functioning of your body that they remove that section of your body, and they can analyze it under a microscope.
Right. Okay. So that's how they actually found it.
Yeah. So removed, did a process called a bowel resection. So took a piece of the pipe out, joined the two bits back together, and took the other bit out to a lab and tested it for 3 weeks or so to find out what it was. Yeah. So that's shook my world, because I wasn't expecting that. I thought I had a bit of a gastro something or other going on. So that kind of blew me away. Didn't kind of go into. In fact, I probably still am processing what does that actually mean. But once you have this cancer spread, then it's no longer curable. So now it's about managing its progress or progression for as long as you can.
Yeah. So as a result of that, you'd always had a big trip planned with your sister?
Yeah. So even before that, I'd kind of gone into Coast to Coast with a jeepers, I need something big for after Coast to Coast. Otherwise, you might kind of experience those post-race blues and go, what's the point of life?
Yeah.
So
yes. A
I'd
lot of
always
people can probably relate to.
Yeah. So I'd always had this trip. We were going hiking in Italy for a month. So I always had that plan with my sister from May, June. So kind of a nice time post Coast to Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it got away and did that before most of the heat waves and particularly the fires. So we arrived on a middle to the end of May, and things were just starting to heat up. So we did have some days which sort of, 38, 39 degrees, but not too many of them. And it's a heat a bit like Central Otago, where I grew up. It's just hot. It's dry heat, so it just is hot. It's not humid. It doesn't feel like it's sucking the energy out of you. It's just hot.
Yes. So did a big walk, did a big adventure, and something completely different, really. Probably had to slow down a little bit as part of that as well.
Although, post 3 weeks in hospital and recovering from pretty major abdominal surgery, it was probably the perfect amount of exercise for somebody like me. I was able to be active each day, but it wasn't a ridiculous amount of physical activity, and it wasn't, too much where the heart rate was up. I lost almost 20% of my body weight while I was in hospital, so I had a bit to catch up on. So I probably didn't need much more than what we were doing, actually.
Yeah.
Pizza and pasta was a good way of.
Yeah, was it gelato? There was something like that. We had some photos being sent through. Was that correct?
Yeah, we probably did get some gelato.
Yeah, I think I requested that actually. You've got to do those things properly, don't you? You've done well.
You do, yeah. No, it was really good. And pizza and pasta was fantastic. Good stuff.
Cool. So got back from that trip. Things are upside down. So what happens now? Your daughter completed the Coast to Coast.
Yeah, my daughter and my son. My daughter and her girlfriend finished third in the Open Women's 2-day teams. So they're still at school, but unfortunately there's not a category for 2-person teams in the school section. So they footed it with the best and finished third. So they were wrapped. Yeah.
And your son?
And my son, I think they might have finished third too. He did it with his dad.
Yep.
So 2-person team as well. Yeah. Yep.
Yep. So what's the plan now? What's the next plans for you? So
next plan. So I had a catch up with Gemma Pescott and co, and politely declined the longest day entry that was guaranteed should I want to take it up, because I didn't take this one. But we're 2 of my children, and my third child. So I've got 3 children. So 2 of them are going to race with me in the 3-person longest day, and the third child is going to be our crew. So it'll be a fantastic family day out. And this time I get to do the paddle. So I missed the paddle in each of these coast to coasts. I've done most of the other bits, I guess, in terms of running or biking. But so I'll paddle, and my son's going to ride, and my daughter gets to run again. So
good.
Really looking forward to that. It's like, it's a different way of me still being able to do the coast to coast. And while my health allows, I'll still consider myself an athlete until maybe I have to have a different point of view. But right now, I'm still an athlete, and Absolutely. I've got a race to prepare for. So back in training.
Good. And what does that mean for you to have a goal like that and to be an athlete?
I think it's actually really important, and I talk to people about this occasionally. Hang on a sec, we have to pause, Richard.
We're going to push pause. Go. We're back on again. Sorry, Helen.
Yeah, no, all good. Yeah, so the kind of having a goal outside of cancer now is really important for me. I think cancer has this way of invading your headspace, and it's sometimes can be quite hard to see yourself as anybody other than a person with cancer.
Yep.
And I kind of, I keep saying to you through this podcast, I identify as an athlete, and I still do. Yep. I don't identify as somebody with cancer. It's kind of like when you say, I have a broken leg, that doesn't identify you. You might still identify as an athlete or as a teacher or as a whatever you might be, but you just have a broken leg. So I have cancer. I am not cancer, but I am an athlete. And so that for me, mentally, that label that I give myself, athlete, means that I have a certain way of thinking. So, discipline, structure, training plans, nutrition, eating well, sleeping well, all of those things which make an athlete a good athlete are really important for me at the moment. But yeah, if you kind of allow cancer too much space in your head, you start to feel as though you identify as cancer. And that's not healthy for any of us. So yeah, having some goals. So the coast to coast is fantastic. And the Waimak Classic coming up, and I'll do the Clutha River Race. So I'll focus on some paddling stuff.
Yes.
But all of those mean that, I've got a program, I've got things which I can control. So how much effort I'm putting in, how much, what nutrition I'm using, how I'm shaping each day are all things I can control. Sometimes cancer takes away the amount of control you have in your world because it's a thing that's going on in your body that you can't control. So this aspect of my life as an athlete is just beautiful because I get to take control. And if Richard has said today's schedule is 50 minutes on his Zwift session, then I can go, 50 minutes, okay. Well, I'm going to sleep in, but I'll go for a bike ride in the sunshine.
Good, exactly.
So
Perfect.
Just having a plan, I guess that's the planning means control. Cancer doesn't necessarily always lead to having control. So it's a good part of my world having some control in it.
Yes, good stuff. So it's quite obviously there's some resetting goals there. It's quite. I was going to say it's quite a mind shift change, but it's not really. You're just going to keep doing what you're doing because that's what you're good at, effectively, aren't you? But there also must be tough times as well. It's not all like.
Oh yeah, no, it's not roses. But actually, that's also a reason to get out and keep doing the things that you love doing because they bring you joy.
Yes.
And it's so weird. Like when we prepare for a race, and this is what I'm telling myself at the moment. So this is the voice in my head at the moment, Richard. When we're preparing for a race, we know the date of the race and we work backwards from that to build our training plan. When we have incurable cancer, we know that there's an end date which is much closer than it would have been without cancer.
You would like it, yeah, 100%.
But we don't know what that date is. We don't know. All we can work with is averages. So on average, people in your situation, it's treatment is effective for X period of time. That's all you've got. Like you're working with other people's averages. There is no data for you because you haven't been through this before. So that's the hardest bit is like, I don't have a finish line that I'm working back from to
Yep.
plan the next bits of my life.
Yes.
All you know is it's, unless you get hit by the bus, it's going to be way shorter than you had thought.
Yes. And as humans, we live in that world of like not thinking about that. But I mean, there's a reason for that. Otherwise, we'd just be squashed by it all the time, isn't it? But hey, you're living your life with some more purpose and intensity potentially than what you would have been otherwise.
Yeah. And so for me at the moment, that's like, a new regime of drugs, that's getting used to what does that do to your body? What does it, what does that allow you to continue to do? So I think I kind of did a bit of a reset, and I went, okay, so what does this next period of my life mean? And for me, it's doing cool stuff with cool people. And so I probably had like my kind of vision up till this point in my life has always been 3 words, and it was challenge, adventure, and fun. And that's probably still stands, but it's making sure that it's around cool people, and I'm just doing the cool stuff. I'm not doing the stuff that's like, you wonder why you turned up for it, because like it wasn't that much fun.
Yeah.
So, and it's been interesting because so much of that consideration of end of life actually sits around the reasons why, we continue to do sport and we look for events and things. So I have been, as somebody said, getting in touch with my mortality recently and thinking about what does that all mean. But, somebody said, don't waste the day. And I say, yeah, that's cool. Like, I think I've probably lived my life like that anyway.
Yeah.
But it's a good lesson for everybody else that's kind of going, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. I'll do it whenever. And another one, joy will persist. So you kind of just go, even in the times when you let your head go down a wee rabbit hole, it's not that healthy. Joy still abounds, and you just kind of step out of it occasionally. It's like, oh yeah, see the sun's shining. Look at that. There's lots of little ways that there's joy. And for me, it's also like getting out on my bike in the sunshine. Like, what could be better than that?
Yeah, 100%. Rolling down the downhill with a slight tailwind with your daughter kind of thing. You can't get much better than those things, can you?
Yeah. So it is a bit of a reset, but yes, I guess a more, as you say, intense focus on doing the stuff I love doing.
Yeah. It's really interesting. You said adventure, challenge, and fun as your 3 things. With Teamcpnz, as we've developed over the years, they're 3 of our core values: challenge, adventure, and fun. And I've also got team and learning as the other one, sort of thing, as part of that. So that's that. I mean, there's we'll claim that as maybe that's why we get on well, and it's I guess on the same page in terms of how you're doing things and what you're doing. That's cool. So what's it going to feel like to finally get to Gorge Bridge?
in the
coast
race.
Yeah, in the race. You've done it plenty before. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can just imagine how cool it's going to be. And having my kids around me.
Yeah.
I'm probably in some ways really privileged to still be as physically active as I am and able to do these things with my kids, because I get that a lot of parents can't.
Yeah.
But also that my kids love these kind of events, and that they're as smitten with them as I am.
Yes.
Like,
and then,
Coast to Coast is just such a cool event.
Yeah. And that's a credit to you, because, I mean, because you love this stuff so much, then, and the way that you talk about it and the way you do it and the way that you approach it, how can you not be fired up about it? So
Yeah.
I mean, that's a credit to you. And then they're dragging you out now, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, I haven't beaten either of them in anything for a wee while now, and that's very cool. I'm all good with that. I'll win the kayaking only because they don't kayak.
Exactly. And you're not going to give them a kayak either. That's going to help your chances.
No. And recently, post my hospital visit, I decided to give my boat a bit of a birthday because, I wasn't going to be paddling the longest day. And a good friend, Paul Massey, took it to one of his good friends, and together they gave it a birthday and wrapped it, which is awesome. I've had so many comments about it since, just to stop the sun damage on the top deck. And it's now got my name on it, Richard, as part of the graphics that went onto it. So it's very cool. There's a little bit of pressure, but it's going to look really good at Gorge Bridge.
That's so good. Has it got a name, your boat?
No, I haven't named it per se, but it's one of Jan's JKK eclipses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we work on. Maybe that's you and the family figure out what the name of the boat is, name of the vessel. Maybe needs
maybe
ceremony there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, bottle of wine across the bow. Hey, Helen, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your open honesty, sharing your story, sharing your journey. It's been so cool to work with you. And I mean, I've said it lots, but I'll say it again, is that it's for my job, I feel really privileged to work with people like yourself that are so positive, so passionate, so enthusiastic, and really cool to see you achieving. And no, you didn't quite get to cross the finish line in longest day. We both know that you could have. You were there, weren't you? You, as you say, you were as fit and strongest as you've ever been. Unfortunately, that is part of the story that didn't quite happen, but the next part of the story is a pretty exciting one as well, to be able to line up in the longest day again, but do it with your kids.
Yeah, it will be really cool.
Yeah,
looking forward to it, and maybe crack on and plan a few other adventures.
Yes, well, that's what it's all about as well. I think there's a word of another adventure, maybe overseas sort of scenario with your sister again.
There's that. Actually, the UTMB course. I'm not probably going to qualify for that now, Richard, but you can tramp it.
Yes.
And so that would be very cool. Yeah. And I'm just hatching plans for a trip in September to Great Barrier Reef with the kids. So that would be very cool.
Yes, good. Hatch those plans. Well done. Well, look after yourself. We'll look forward to catching up with you hopefully tomorrow. We're at the rugby, Helen. First time at the stadium. Yeah, there we go. So we'll see you there somewhere, but we'll expect a hug somewhere along the way if we can connect somehow.
Sounds good. Cheers, Richard.
Take care. Thanks, Helen.
See you. Bye.
See ya. Bye.